Hello, 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 everyone. It's me, Dr. KSD. Welcome to the Purpose for Greatness podcast. I am your host, Dr. Kim, and we have been discussing surviving the holidays. That's right, because the holidays are upon us, and we know it can be pretty emotional, right? So today's episode is episode number 3, and we will be discussing managing our emotions. This is a really important subject because we know that when the holidays come around, emotions are already kind of revving up. We don't want to get caught up in that emotional roller coaster. And for those of you who are grievers, I really want you to tune in because I definitely have a special message for you. But before we get started, do me a favor. Please click that subscribe button or follow or whatever it is down there that you see. Can you like it? Can you leave me a comment? And most of all, can you share? Share this message with everyone you think that it can be helpful for. This holiday season, we're kicking out the grief. We're kicking out all those bad emotions. We are kicking out anything that gets in the way of us having a wonderful, happy, joyful time. Thank you. So, how many of you realize how hard it is to control your emotions? Or better yet, how many of you think that you are in control of your emotions? I can guarantee you the majority are saying, yes, I am in control of my emotions. I used to think the same thing, but are you really? So let's just think about today. Did anybody cut you off while you were driving? Or did your family make you late for work? How about them kids? You on your way out the door and somebody forgot the lunch pail, or maybe they gave you that permission slip for the field trip that needs to be signed right now, but you're late for work and you really don't have time for this. How about the coworker? You know the coworker that always has some kind of little snide remark. How about the boss giving you yet another thing to do when you have tons already left to do? What about the customers? What about the customers? You know what I'm talking about. The customers who come in with the funky attitude. They want you to do this right now because, see, you've been sitting there twiddling your thumbs all day long, just waiting on them to come to give you something to do. You know, there are so many things that we go throughout every day. And every one of those things can elicit these emotions in us that we did not ask for. So think about all those things that happened to you today. Did you get a little road rage from somebody cutting you off? How frustrated did you show your child you were when she gave you that last minute paperwork to sign? How much love, how much love and patience did you show that customer who came in with that paperwork at the last minute, or the customer that came with that? I don't like none of that. So let's start again. How many of you realize how hard it is to keep your emotions under control? Or better yet, how many of you think that you have control of your own emotions? Now, I can guarantee you, most people believe that they are in full control of their emotions at all times. The question is, but are you really? Think about just the things that have happened today. Were you cut off in traffic? Did your children have all the things that they needed to leave out the door on time because you didn't want to be late for work again? How about the child that always has this last minute paperwork for you to fill out? They can't go on the field trip unless you do it right now, but you're late for work and you really don't have time for this. How about the coworker? with the snide remarks, always having something to say, always in your business, or the boss that keeps giving you more and more and more things to do? Or how about you people who are in customer service? How about the one that comes with the nasty attitude all the time? How did you handle these things? Did you preserve your peace, or did you tell them off? Did you get a little bit of road rage? How frustrated did you let your child know that you are not happy about getting this paperwork at the last minute again? How many how many times today did you leave your place of peace? How many times did you let somebody hijack your emotions? And for my grievers, how many times did you encounter someone today that said, well, they are in a better place, or God needed an angel, or, you know, I know you feel bad, but look, if you just pray a little more, or maybe if you spend a little bit more time with God, you'll stop grieving faster. You see, every one of those scenarios, or whatever your situation may have been, very likely caused you to have emotions that were stirred up inside of you. And not because you consciously wanted to have those emotions, but because somebody did something that hijacked your emotions. They took control of your emotions. They took the keys to your emotions away from you. Whether you feel justified about those emotions or not, you literally allowed somebody to take those keys from you. And regardless of what the incident may have been, the truth of the matter is this: nobody deserves to have the keys to your emotions. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. You see, holidays in general tend to make people's emotions a little bit more heightened, especially when we're talking about family gathering time, because people are typically already on edge. Why? Because of anticipation. I saw a movie one time that said anticipation of a thing is always worse than the actual thing itself. And it is so, so, so true. We spend so much time anticipating the many possibilities of how something might go down when it may not ever go down like that at all. And what ends up happening is your nerves are so riled up, your emotions are so much higher, and you are on high alert, just waiting on that thing to happen. That the minute something even kind of sort of looks like it's going to happen, you are ready to explode. And not just explode, you are ready to explode and be the star of the next family drama. Don't let this happen. What's going on is you are sitting there literally wondering, when are they going to ask the question? When are they going to do the stupid thing that normally gets done? When are they going to say that thing that normally gets done? So you're sitting there wondering, okay, I'm just waiting. I know somebody's about to ask why I'm not married yet. Somebody's about to ask why I haven't had kids yet. Or somebody is going to ask, why is my child still at my house? Or why is my child not working in this and that? People are intrusive. People are so intrusive. And for my grievers, they want to know, oh, honey, you still grieving? You're not over it yet? Now, see, when you anticipate these things about to happen, when they do happen, you're literally ready to shake, rattle, and roll. You're ready to give them that two-piece, right? But is it worth it? The truth of the matter is that regardless of what is going on around us, no matter what is said, no matter what people are doing, Nobody deserves to have control of how we feel. No one at any point in our lives deserves the keys to our emotions. No one deserves to have the right to hijack how we are feeling. No one deserves to have that kind of power over us. So when you say things like, she made me mad, he made me sad, they made me act out of my character, or they made me feel guilty, it's not them. It's that you you have allowed someone to take away your peace and replace it with chaos and commotion. But I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, that's on you. You see, we have to take responsibility for our own emotions. Because let me let you in on a little secret. If you stop and think about it, you'll realize that you are voluntarily giving people the power to control how you feel. And what that essentially means is that every single time you allow someone to make you feel any kind of way, you become their puppet. That's right. Now, chew on that for a little while. You see, society, we are all we are all victims of society. Society makes us believe that we have to react to certain situations and circumstances. They they make us feel like it's honorable and it's what we are supposed to do to defend our character, our name, our family. All lies. The truth is, what other people say or think about us should have no bearing on our lives whatsoever. Not even a little bit. So what? If someone thinks something about you that you know is not true, why exactly does that deserve a response or a reaction at all? If someone doesn't like your clothes, your hair, your vehicle, your career choice, your life choice, your partner, if they don't like what your children are doing, why do you feel the need to defend that? I mean, honestly, that's on them. What does that have to do with you that they feel that way? Clearly, you didn't feel that way because you decided to do it the way you decided to do it. So, what they think, it doesn't deserve a response at all. As a matter of fact, when people do that, it says more about them than it says about you in the first place. Because the truth is, everybody, no matter who they are, everybody has made mistakes. We live life in a trial and error type of fashion. We do a few things. If it works, wonderful. If it does not work, well, that ain't good. Let me try doing it another way. If that works, wonderful. If it doesn't work, well, that evidently is not good. Let me do it a different way. We all should live like that, trial and error. Now, I am a fan of listening to what the wise have to say because the wise, they can keep you out of a lot of trouble. But anyway, if someone doesn't like your clothes, your hair, your life choice, your career choice, what your children are doing, if they don't like any decision that you made for your life, stop feeling as though you have to defend your choices. Just because somebody comments on whatever it is you're doing or comments about whatever decisions you've made for your life, it doesn't mean that it needs to be responded to. Matter of fact, let them talk. What does that have to do with your life? Somebody talking about what you have done, even if it is a mistake you made, so what? They can talk about it. It should not have a bearing on your life, though. The truth of the matter is this as well. No matter what decisions I've made from my life, my decisions have no bearing on their lives. So, anyone who would take the time to scrutinize me, they honestly, in my opinion, reveal just how irrelevant their own lives are. I mean, think about it. If somebody is so engrossed with what you're doing, they are excited to talk about your mistakes, the mistakes of your children, all that has not gone right in your life. I mean, sometimes people even go as far as to say, "Oh, I don't like that. Why did you do this? How come that?" I tell this story all the time. I do have a big, beautiful home, but we have no landscaping in front of our home. Why? I'm not getting out there and doing it. I don't want to force my husband to do it because I don't want it to be a hot mess and I have to keep fussing at him to go and pull weeds and make it look nice. So it looks nice just the way it is with the greenery. But people pass all the time, and say, literally, they will say, "When are you going to do landscaping in front of that big, beautiful house?" And I used to get upset about it, but not anymore. Now my answer is, honey, look, if you want to see some landscaping, feel free. By all means, come and put whatever trees you want, flowers you want. But look now, make sure you're going to come and keep it up too. Come and groom every week. Come and pull them weeds up because we are not doing that. Because at the end of the day, what anybody has to say, what they think, that has nothing to do with me. Now, I can choose to take recommendations or I can choose not to. But what I won't do is waste my time nor my energy on what somebody else thinks I should be doing with my time and my money. And anyway, the bigger thing here is that every single time you give the keys to your emotions to somebody else and you let them drive you all over the nation, shoot, all over the world, you are allowing them to decrease your quality of life. So that's another point that we need to make here. Don't let somebody else's pettiness interfere with your good quality of life. Remember before I told you preserve your peace? Please preserve your peace. If you don't preserve your peace, nobody else will. But your peace, that's where that good quality of life comes from. The more you are revved up, the more emotional you are, the more you put your organs at risk of damage. So, from a medical perspective, every single time you allow somebody to get you upset and destroy your peace of mind, you are allowing the neurotransmitters that cause inflammation in your body to increase and increase to levels that can be detrimental to your health. And the more you worry, the more you stress, the more upset you are, the more those neurotransmitters are emitted and the higher they stay for long periods of time. The problem, the longer they are up, the more inflammation that's formed. The more inflammation, the faster blockage is forming in your blood vessels, the more damage occurring to your heart occurs, the more damage that's occurring to your brain is happening as well. You are talking about early heart attacks, early strokes, even possibly early dementia, not to mention the many different mental health issues that can arise from this. So, my question to you is this: is it worth it? Is it worth reacting or responding to people who should not have any bearing on your life in the first place? Is it worth it to have the last word? It's really not. So, look, as promised, look, nah, sis, I will not be matching energies with you today. My peace is too precious to forfeit. This is the t-shirt of the day. And this t-shirt, I tell you, so many of you need this as a constant reminder that we're not matching energies. That is a big thing right now. People talk about that all the time. Oh, we gonna match energies. What energy you bringing? Because we gonna match. No, 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 no. I'm not matching energies. Because if I match energies, that means that I am going to keep misery company. I refuse to keep misery company. I refuse to keep pettiness company. I refuse to keep lack of, less than, lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence. I'm not keeping that company. Because see, when people feel that way, they want to pull you in. Again, don't leave your high place of peace to go play down here with those people who are in a miserable state of being. So anyway, get your shirt, drksd.com or drksdbrands.com. So let's talk about emotions. What are emotions in the first place? So the Britannica Dictionary states that emotions are a complex experience of consciousness, bodily sensation, and behavior that reflects the personal significance of a thing, an event, or a state of affairs. So, emotions are composed of three different things. So, let's talk about the first thing, your consciousness. That just simply means how you perceive an incident. How did you perceive the way somebody spoke to you? How did you perceive the way somebody looked at you? How did you perceive a text message? How did you perceive a spider crawling up your arm, or a dog coming up to you growling, or a snake when you walk out into your garage? How you perceive anything that is happening, that is the first part. That is your consciousness. How you perceive a situation or an event or a thing. So, what is your perception? And for the sake of this podcast, we're going to use the example of the spider crawling up the leg because, of course, that'll get people's attention quickly. So, second thing is bodily sensations. So, second, bodily sensations. The bodily sensations are in response to what you have perceived from the situation. So, in the case of the spider crawling up the leg, you perceive the spider, you perceive it as a threat, you perceive it as something that scares the daylights out of you if you're me. And so, inside, you have neurotransmitters that are being emitted into your system. And those neurotransmitters are going to cause different physical changes in your body. It's going to make your heart rate increase. It'll make your blood vessels get bigger. And the blood vessels get bigger so that as that heart rate is increasing, the heart is pumping faster. The blood, not only is it going faster through the blood vessels, but more blood is going because the blood vessel has been enlarged. And the reason for that is so that this blood can get to your organs quicker in a shorter period of time. Other things that might happen, your body temperature may come up, your blood flow will be faster, of course, but blood flow to the skin. You might perceive that the skin is more red, especially here. You'll see that the cheeks get really, really red. You start sweating. And for some people, you get the queasy stomach. And for many, you feel like the hair on the back of your neck start to stand up. All of those are physical responses to what you have perceived as a threat or something that made you upset. All of those things, those bodily sensations, are all part of what we call the autonomous nervous system or the fight or flight system, the sympathetic nervous system. And why? Because it gets us ready for the next part, which is the behavior that is elicited as a result of what is perceived and the bodily sensations that happen. So If you know anything about fight or flight, you know I see the spider. What is going to be my behavior? Now, my heart rate has gone up. I'm getting more blood and oxygen to my organs. So now I am ready to fight or I'm ready to flight. So in the case of the spider, I'm going to be honest, I'm flighting. I am flighting all day long. I am fighting and flighting because I will try to knock it off my leg, but you better believe I'm trying to get up and get out and move out the way. I used to call this the Incredible Hulk syndrome because I remember as a little girl watching the original Incredible Hulk, and it showed this woman, her she had gotten into an accident, her car flipped, but her baby was in a car. And they're showing this woman with this, all of a sudden she has this super strength to lift the car to get her baby out. And you know these things. How many of you have ever had something happen and all of a sudden you ran across a room? You don't know how you got there. You don't know how you jumped over the couch. You can do what seems like superhuman things when you're in the fight or flight mode. That's what happens to us when we experience things that make us emotionally upset or emotionally stressed or worried. Now, let's think about this using a different perception. Maybe the perception of someone talking about you or someone looking at you and laughing, someone saying something that's degrading or berating or ridiculing or judging. The same syndrome happens no matter what the perception is. Now, what does change is based on the perception that determines the intensity of the reaction. So, if somebody, maybe they look at you, maybe they might roll their eyes, okay, you might feel a little flutter, you might be a little upset, it might play over and over in your mind. But if somebody just outright calls you out your name, maybe curses you out, maybe approaches you as though they're going to do something, well, now that's a much, much greater intensity of a response that you're going to get there. When you look at those two scenarios, you look at somebody rolling their eyes, okay, whatever. You know, the neurotransmitter or the inflammation, let's say it goes up about 5 points, as opposed to the spider on my leg or somebody cursing you out might make it go up about 50. The difference between the two is this. If I go up 5, I might get a little bit of inflammation. Probably really won't change my quality of life. But if I go up 50, you better believe there's gonna be some kind of damage that's gonna happen to your organs over time that potentially could lead to heart attacks or strokes, or like I said, early dementia or any other thing that could be detrimental to your health. So that is why it is really important for us to get our perception of things under control. What lens are you looking at life through? Because the reality is, why should you be bothered with what anybody else thinks about you? And honestly, about anything anybody says about you either. Truthfully, the only way something someone else thinks or says about you should bother you is if you already think those things about yourself. So, this is reality check time. Think about the last time something somebody said to you really, really upset you. Now think about why it upset you. And I want to give you the same example I gave a close friend of mine recently. She was really upset about something someone had to say about her. And I said, okay, so she's a brown colored girl. And I said, okay, but what if they would have said that you were white? And she said, what do you mean? I said, well, what if he would have said you are white? You know, he's just saying like she's acting like she's black, but she's really white. Look, rub her hand, rub her hand hard enough. You're gonna see it's gonna come off. And she's laughing, of course. And she's like, well, I mean, no, that wouldn't bother me. I'm like, but why would it bother you? If what he said bothered you, this should bother you too, because it's not true, right? No. So the other thing is not true either, right? No. Well, why would this not bother you? Because it's ridiculous. Exactly. Because in your mind, you know emphatically there's it's indisputable that you black. Same thing about what he said. It should be indisputable that you are not the things that he said you are. And I would tell you all the same thing. Doesn't matter what anybody has to say about you. So what? Let them talk. Give them something to do because it makes them feel better about themselves. Oh, let them have it. By all means, give them some relevance. But don't let it affect your own life. It should not affect your life. What anybody thinks about you, what anybody says about you, what they think about your career choice, what they think about your house, your cars, what they think about how you raise your children, anything that anybody has to say about how you have decided to move with your life should be irrelevant and should have no bearing on your life. And it definitely should not cause you to have those emotions stirred up that you are not asking to be stirred up, but stirred up enough that you just handing over the keys to your emotions to those people and letting them drive you all over the nation when they want, how they want. No, you deserve better than that. You deserve better than that for yourself. Now, for my grievers, I'm going to be straight up. You have a right to feel how you feel. Emotions for grievers are a little bit different because it's that lasting grief, that emotion that just does not want to let you go, that leads you to feel so grieved. That's the problem. But you feel worse when you approach people who say the most inconsiderate and hurtful things. And I want to say this: people don't realize they're saying hurtful things. They're not trying to be hurtful. But what we do need to do is educate people more on what things are and are not appropriate to tell people who are grieving. That's the bottom line. So, for people who are grieving, you have a right to feel how you feel. Don't hide. When you hide your emotions, you just make yourself feel worse. You are not a problem. Your emotional state is not a problem. Grief only sets in when you refuse to acknowledge that you feel hurt that your loved one is gone, or that you feel hurt that somebody betrayed you, or you feel hurt about any of the other losses you may have experienced in your lifetime. You have a right to feel how you feel because what happened to you. Nobody can tell you differently, even people who have experienced something similar, because it was just that similar, okay? Not what you experienced, two different things. So own your grief. If anybody feels emboldened to come up and say, "Oh, it's been a long time. You ought to be over this, or you got to learn to move on," or you need to respectfully be able to say, "I'm sorry. This is my journey. You don't get to tell me how I feel. This is my loved one. You don't get to tell me how long I should take to grieve." Those are acceptable, respectable things to say. So don't allow anybody to make you hide in a corner. And definitely don't let them keep you from going and hanging out with family because you deserve to be with your family and you need that love. The devil only wants to get us alone. He wants us in a corner by ourselves. But Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 tells us that two is better than one. Don't let the devil keep you in that house by yourself grieving where he can tell you lies. Don't do it. But don't let misinformed people run you away either. They just need to understand that you have a right to feel how you feel. Own your grief. All right, so to help to help us all get through the holidays while maintaining the reins on our emotions, I want to share my top recommendations for how you maintain that control so that you don't give up the reins. So, number one, expect to have a good time and stop yourself from expecting the worst. We do it so much. How many of you play those movies like I do over and over in your mind about how stuff is going to go? Yeah, and if she says this, then I'm going to say that. And if she says that, then I'm going to say this. You realize how much time and energy we expend for naught? Don't do it to yourself. Plan to have a good time. Take things as they come. If something comes up, deal with it at that time. But expect that nothing is going to happen. Expect the best. Remember, anticipation of a thing is always worse than the thing itself. How many times have you anticipated 10,000 things happening and not a single one did? So expect to have a good time. Number two, remember that you don't owe anyone an explanation, and it is okay for you to say, I'd rather not discuss it. The decisions that you have made for your life are your own. You don't owe anyone an explanation about why you did what you did. Now, if you want to explain, by all means, but don't feel obligated. You can, again, with full respect, say, that's how I wanted to do it. You don't owe anything more to anybody. People are very intrusive, especially in this day and age. That does not mean you don't have the right to stop them in their tracks. When people cross that border, because remember, we want healthy boundaries. When they cross the border and they get into your safe space, it's okay to say, I'm sorry, can you back up a little bit? Yeah, you're in my lane. You're not allowed in this lane, not today. And you should be okay with that. Number three, remember that people can only give you what they have. The Bible says that out of the mouth flow matters of the heart. If somebody has a heart that is filled with grief and sadness and misery, you can't really expect for them to give you joy, happiness, and peace. People can only give you what they have inside. Now, that being said, don't keep misery company, because I can help you if you want me to help you. But we're not staying in this grief space, and I'm not visiting. You're going to have to come up here and meet me. You're going to have to get yourself a little bit of joy, a little bit of peace, a little bit of happiness. But no, I'm not leaving my place of peace to come down here. You see, people sometimes like to be in that state because they are afraid to get out. Sometimes they don't know how to get out. But for my grievers, sometimes it feels wrong to get out. Sometimes you feel guilty about letting go of the grief. But I just want to let you know it's okay to let go of the grief. I will tell you, I think I explained this last time. We have sadness, we have depression, and we have grief. We can be sad. We don't want to be grieved. Grief will rob you of your whole life, but not just of your life. It'll rob you of all the relationships you still have here. Don't let grief win, but don't let misery pull you in it to make you keep it company. You deserve better than that. So if you are grieving, it's okay. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to cry. But you need to get those nasty emotions out of your system. Express yourself so that you can feel lighter and so that you can enjoy making new memories with the people who are still here that you love. Number four, be okay with the decisions you've made for your life. Many times when we make decisions, especially when it doesn't work out the way we wanted it to work out, we have a tendency to be embarrassed. We don't want to face people. We're ashamed. But this is the thing. Do you realize everybody makes mistakes? Do you realize everybody has skeletons in their closet? And do you realize the only people who are going to bring up your mistakes are the people who must have such horrible mistakes of their own that they're just trying to get the spotlight off of them? They feel better by making you feel bad. I want everybody to please adopt this mindset. I call it the and so mindset. So somebody wants to bring up your past losses, your past failures, your past embarrassments. You know what you need to say? And so, because no matter what, no matter how well somebody appears to be living, everybody has mistakes, everybody has embarrassments, and everybody has skeletons. Do not let anybody fool you into believing that they don't. The only thing the devil can ever hold over your head are the things that you refuse to acknowledge. Own it. So what? And so own it and be done with it. Most of the time, when you do that, you put those same people to shame because they meant it to embarrass you. But if you're not embarrassed, what do they have? And number 5, no one has the power to make you feel any way or any type of way unless you give them the power. Stop giving people the keys to your emotions. Stop allowing people to drive you all across the US of A, Canada, Mexico, then put you in a boat and drive you across to Asia and the rest of the world. Stop doing that. You do not have to react nor respond to everything that comes at you. Sometimes you just need to give yourself a pat on the back and congratulate yourself. Because guess what? If people are talking about you, if people are commenting on your life and what you're doing, do you realize how relevant you must be? Do you realize how interesting your life must be to them? Do you realize that you are probably one of their main purposes for living? Honestly, I'm not even kidding, because this is what they live for. They live to see what you're doing. They live to see how you're moving. And they live to comment on it, to see if they can knock you off of that pedestal. Now, you don't realize you're on a pedestal. You didn't put yourself on a pedestal, but they put you on a pedestal. That's not your problem. That's theirs. Live your life to the best of your ability. Enjoy your life to the fullest. Don't get caught up with people's issues. I like to say, don't let their issues be your problem. Live. Heck, let them have a front row seat to all that you're doing. Give them more to talk about. Because the truth of the matter is, holidays are meant to be full with joy, happiness, and peace. Don't let anybody steal your peace from you. Don't let anybody steal your joy. Don't let anybody steal your happiness. You deserve to stay in control of your emotions. And for my grievers, it feels like an emotional roller coaster. That emotional roller coaster, you just never know. You never know when the twists and turns, when the upside downs are going to happen. But hold on. Hold on. Because you can survive the roller coaster ride as long as you don't give up. Remember, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Joy cometh with you expressing those emotions and getting those nasty feelings out of your system. Because the truth is, you have a right to feel exactly how you feel. This is your loss. Nobody can tell you anything at all about your loss. But what you don't want to happen, you don't want to let the devil trick you into continuing to grieve because you feel like you're obligated to do so. Because if you don't, It's like you're forgetting about your loved one because you feel guilty. That's a trick of the devil. I felt that way. I understand that. I know how that feels. But I'm gonna tell you this. God, God showed me that it's not you feel guilty that's the problem. The problem is the people who are still here, who still love you and still want a relationship with you, that you're turning your back on them. And that is affecting their lives more than you know. Because you see, our loved ones are in heaven. They're living it up, waiting on us to get there. But the loved ones who are here, how are we negatively impacting their lives? By being present physically and absent emotionally and mentally. That's not fair to them. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Grief does not get the final say, and grief does not get to win. Maintain control of your emotions. Do not give the keys to your emotions to anyone. Keep your power. Never give it away. And if you've already given it away, snatch them keys back so you can live your life with purpose, on purpose, like you deserve. All right, everybody, that concludes episode number 3. Thank you for hanging in there with me. If you have heard anything that has been valuable to you, something that you think can be valuable to somebody else, please don't forget, click the like button, comment, leave me a comment, please. And by all means, share on your Facebook page, your TikTok page, your Instagram page, or LinkedIn page, your Twitter page, wherever you have a platform, share it. And I give you my greatest appreciation. Don't forget, nah sis. And I don't have just nah sis. There's nah sis, nah bruh, and nah fam. And all the rest of them say, I will not be matching energies. Today, my piece is too precious to forfeit. Great holiday gift. Great holiday gift for your loved ones and for the people that you need to have a constant reminder on them. Don't give your peace away. Do not give the keys to your emotions away. All right. So, next episode is going to be hot because it's going to be me and my hubby. 2 is better than 1. So, don't forget to stay tuned.